Lesson 13. Hello, boys and girls. This is Aunt Fernita, and I have a wonderful story for you called Angels All Around. Today's memory verse is from James chapter 5, verse 16. It says, "Pray for each other." The message for today's story is we help others when we pray for them. Have you ever been scared of something, like a loud thunderstorm or a big dog? Elisha's servant was afraid, but Elisha knew what to do. The king of Aram shook his fist at his army officers. "I want to know who is telling the king of Israel all my secret plans," he shouted. "Every time we go to attack Israel, their king knows about it." One of the officers took a deep breath and spoke up. "It's not one of us, sir. The prophet Elisha tells the king of Israel everything you say, even the words you speak in your bedroom." "Well, then find out where this Elisha is," the king shouted. The officers hurried to send spies to look for Elisha, and soon they knew. "Elisha is in the city of Dothan," they told the king. "Then go capture him," the king commanded. "Go, tonight, and surround the city." Early the next morning, Elisha's servant walked down the street. He smiled. That was until he looked outside the city and saw the army from Aram. The servant's heart pounded with fear. He turned around and ran back to the house. "Elisha! Elisha!" he cried. "The army of Aram has surrounded the city. What are we going to do?" "Don't be afraid," Elisha said. "Come with me." The two men climbed up high so they could look over the city walls. Many horses and chariots and many soldiers surrounded the city. "Do not be afraid," Elisha said again. "The army that is on our side is bigger than that army." Then Elisha prayed, "Lord, open my servant's eyes. Let him see." The Lord did open the servant's eyes, and what an amazing sight! The hills were covered with horses and chariots of fire. God's army of angels surrounded the enemy. As the enemy came toward the city, Elisha prayed again, "Strike these men with blindness." And immediately the enemy soldiers could not see. They fell over one another. Elisha spoke to the enemy soldiers, "Follow me. I will lead you." And he led them away to Samaria. There Elisha prayed again, "Lord, open the eyes of these men and let them see where they are." The enemy soldiers were surprised to find themselves facing the king and soldiers of Samaria. The king of Samaria asked Elisha, "What should I do with these men?" "Give them food and water and send them back to their master," Elisha answered. And so the king of Samaria did just that. When the enemy soldiers told their king what had happened, he decided to stop attacking God's people. And what about Elisha's servant? That day, he learned that God's angels are always ready to help his children. God always hears our prayers, and he knows what needs to be done.
This podcast was brought to you by Studio El Piso and Gracelink.net. For more children's resources, please visit Gracelink.net.